KMIR News at 5 starts now.
Good evening. This is KMIR News at 5, also streaming live on KMIR.com. I'm Elizabeth Bobie and Gino Lamont is on assignment. A grand jury has handed down indictments, and the two suspects in the Pinyon Pines case appeared in court today in Riverside. Let's bring you up to speed on today's developments in the Pinyon Pines triple murder case. 25-year-old Robert Pape and 25-year-old Kristen Smith made their first court appearance. Both have been indicted by a grand jury and charged with 3 counts of murder. There are special circumstance allegations for using a firearm and for committing multiple murders. Pape is eligible for the death penalty. Smith is not because he was only 17 at the time of the murders. Kristen Smith was arraigned and pleaded not guilty today. Robert Pape did not enter a plea and asked for a continuance. Both will be in court again next Tuesday. As we said, both suspects in this case were in court today, and one of them entered a plea. Kristen Smith pleaded not guilty to all charges. Robert Pape did not enter a plea. He was represented by a public defender, but asked that his arraignment be postponed so he can hire a private attorney. Both are being held tonight in Riverside. That is where KMIR's Angela Monroe has been all day. She has the very latest on the suspects' court appearances and reaction from the Riverside County District Attorney's Office. Angela.
Elizabeth, I have been waiting for the grand jury indictment papers from the clerk's office here in the court all day. I went in there a little while ago and they said that the images still had not been scanned, so we do not have those at this point. However, as you said earlier today, both Kristen Smith and Robert Pape were in this courthouse. And as you said, they are facing 3 charges for the murder charges for the death of John Hayward, Vicki Friedley, and her daughter Becky Friedley. And there are special allegations for use of a firearm in the death of both John Hayward as well as Vicki Friedley. And there is also a special allegation for the fact that there were multiple murders. As you said, Smith pled not guilty, while Pape asked for more time to find a private attorney. The district attorney's office said that they only bring cases like this to the grand jury when they have faith that they can be convicted by a jury.
It's taken a long time to get to this point, unfortunately, and we're hopeful that the fact that we've now at a point where arrests have been made and charges have been filed, hope that brings some solace and some relief to the family, however it may help them get through this further, we hope. It's been a difficult trying investigation, obviously, as you can tell by the length of time that's taken. As far as what was or wasn't done from the time of the crime up until the point that it was presented to us for potential filing, I'd have to refer you back to the Sheriff's Department on any of that specifics.
Now, I did also call the Sheriff's Department. They told me that they had no further comment on this case at this time. Now, once again, it took a grand jury 5 days for this case to hear about 30 witnesses. And the next court date for both Smith and Pape will be on the 18th. That's a Tuesday, and both of them will be in Indio. Reporting live in Riverside, I'm Angela Monroe for KMIR News. Now back to you, Elizabeth.
All right, Angela, thank you for that angle tonight. This story is moving quickly. It has been just over 24 hours since KMIR first broke the story that Smith and Pape were arrested. Our Jitzel Puente has been out gathering reaction to those arrests now nearly 8 years after the date of the murders. She joins us now live from the newsroom with that reaction. Jitzel.
Elizabeth, I was in Salton City today where one of the suspects, Robert Pape, was arrested yesterday afternoon by Riverside County Sheriff's Department. Now, I spoke with several residents in the area who were shocked to find out that one of the suspects in a triple murder case was arrested in an otherwise peaceful residence. That's what they said. Now, Robert Pape is a resident of Cathedral City. He was arrested around 4 p.m. Tuesday in a neighborhood in Salton City. The area falls under the Imperial County jurisdiction, but it was the Riverside County sheriffs who made the arrest. They had a warrant for Pape and contacted the Imperial County to proceed. The suspect worked at DCS Air Conditioning in Thousand Palms, according to an investigator. Now, I reached out to the company several times today, but they had no comment. At this time, it's unclear if Pape was on a service call in the neighborhood when he got arrested. One of the neighbors said he witnessed the sheriff's activity yesterday.
I was out washing my car, and down the street there was a sheriff with 3 other vehicles parked over there. So there was a little bit of commotion going on. That was about it. It lasted probably about 45 minutes.
The other suspect is Christian Smith, and he was arrested at Palm Springs International Airport. Live from the newsroom, I'm Giselle Puente. Back to you, Elizabeth.
All right, thank you, Giselle. On Monday, an attorney for a material witness in this case leaked an affidavit detailing the suspect's names, details of the murders, and a motive. We did not make this information public because it could have jeopardized the grand jury and arrests. Tonight, with suspects charged, we are revealing what that document says. This affidavit details the state's case against Robert Pape and Christian Smith and alleges their roles in the Pinyon Pines slayings. It states on the night of September 17, 2006, a fire was reported at this house in the small rural community of Pinyon Pines and the mountains above Palm Desert. Becky Friedley's body was found burning in a wheelbarrow in the yard and the Friedley house completely ablaze. After the fire was put out, Becky's mom, Vicky, was found dead inside with her boyfriend, John Hayward. Vicky died from a gunshot wound to the head, possibly from a Glock handgun. John was shot in the chest with a 12-gauge shotgun. This document also alleges Becky's best friend, Javier Garcia, called her on that night at 6:40. She told him Robert and Christian were coming over because they were going hiking between 6:30 and 7. It also states in an interview with detectives, Pape said he had dated Becky for 15 months, but claimed they broke up in January 2006 because she cheated on him. He claimed they had only sporadic contact since then. The day after the murders, this document states Javier Garcia spoke to Pape, who said he and Christian decided not to go hiking with Becky the night of the murders. Pape allegedly told investigators he and Christian were alone the entire night. But cell phone activity places Robert and Christian in the proximity of the Friedley home before and after the crimes. At the scene of the crime, near where Becky's body was found, was a business card that had Christian Smith's DNA. The chance that such a DNA match could happen at random is 1 in 320,000. Their phones were both turned off from 7 p.m. till 11 p.m. A, quote, unprecedented anomaly in their cellular activity records. A year later, on October 2nd, 2007, a search of Pape's house found a 12-gauge shotgun and a holster for a Glock handgun. A search of Smith's house found 2 12-gauge shotguns. We are still investigating how attorney Eduardo Roy, who is representing Javier Garcia Jr., got a hold of that affidavit. The DA's office tells us it is not their practice to provide legal documents in an ongoing criminal investigation to criminal defense attorneys. Garcia's father is a senior investigator in the DA's office, and his mother is Bonnie Garcia, who is running for state senate. Christian Smith's lawyer says his client is innocent, and he's already working to clear his client's name. He came to KMIR for an interview. Now, coming up new tonight at 6, what he is saying about his client and the case against him. That is coming up new tonight at 6 o'clock. And this afternoon, I received this email from Tiffany Teasdale, the oldest sister of Becky Friedley. It reads, quote, I am so pleased with Detective Vargas and his hard work on this case. He has stayed in close contact with me over the last couple of years, and I am very thankful that Smith and Pape are behind bars where they cannot hurt anyone else. I'm very excited to see what happens next. I loved my sister Becky like she was my own daughter. The coming trial will not bring her or my mother back, but it is nice to see justice is being served. And as the Pinyon Pines murder case now moves into the courtroom, be sure to stay with KMIR News. We broke the story on yesterday's arrests, and we are staying on top of every angle of this case until its completion. Stay with KMIR for full and complete coverage as a new chapter begins in the Pinyon Pines murder case.